Okay, so here is, one second. Okay, here's how to make a very basic dubstep song in as short of an amount of time as possible. Okay, you open up Cubase and damn. That sounds weird. Let's try this again. Okay, here's how you make a dubstep song in as short of an amount of time as possible. So first open up Cubase. Wait for it to open. Let it open. Okay, make a new project, empty, whatever, choose a folder. This one I chose tutorial folder. Make that, click new project, untiled. Usually I save it as the same title as the folder. You can do whatever you want. It just makes it simpler for me. So create a new instrument. Massive is great for dubstep. It's a very popular dubstep instrument. I would create that one. You're definitely going to need Massive. I'm going to assume you already know how to make the wobbles. If not, I might make a tutorial on it later. Or you can just slow it down and watch when I make the instrument. But I'm going to leave that alone for now. I want to organize the piece first. So I make a marker track. And I divide it into sets of 16. Sets of 16. And so I don't like to count. And so it's going to be 1 in 17. If you zoom out, I can just press G. It'll zoom out. Press H to zoom in. And I just count 4. That's going to be 16. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Oh, fuck. Alright. And then you just kind of have to hit it on the line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I have a bunch of these. Now first I need an intro. I use Absinthe. I only use three synthesizers really, or 2 synthesizers and a sampler. Use whatever you want. I like Absinthe because it has nice sounds. For this, I'm just going to use the preset sounds. Normally I would just create a sound, or I would start one of these sounds and modify it until it's what I want it to sound like, but for the purposes of simplicity, I will just use the presets. And I need to change the buffer rate because it sucks right now. Say 256. This is just so I can play it more easily. I won't go to 256. 256. Alright, so I'm using kind of different audio configuration to do this tutorial than usual, so I'm a bit confused. Usually, anyways, so just set it whatever works for you. Dubstep songs between 135 and 150. I'll just do 145. Okay. Now you have the tempo set, you have the basic structure mapped out, and create an intro. So let's start with one sound. Dubstep songs don't usually have chord structures, so that makes it a bit easier. Usually when I'm recording the first one, I turn on the metronome so I can hear how fast it's going. And then you just play it. Again, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible for this, so I'm just going to use that. Something, I just made it up. Now I go here. Oh yeah, Q is quantized. Go through here. Set up. There's the quantize thing. This basically chooses the markers here. I usually use eighth notes, but I mean you're going to use whatever suits this music you're making. So I just set all these up to make it nice and neat. If I hit Control A and hit Q, it'll quantize them. So if like this is like over here, and then if this is like over here, and then I hit Q, it'll set it to the nearest eighth note. So Q makes it all nice and neat, like it feels on quarter notes. I'm going to demonstrate this quantize thing because quantize is important. It would set it to the next quarter note, and I'm just undoing it and hitting Q again. So I want them on eighth notes. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay, I don't like that very much, so I'm going to keep these on the quarter on the quarter notes actually. So let's set it to the quarter notes. But I want these to end on the eighth notes. Okay, cool. So now we have the first thing written, and I usually save it a lot so I don't lose it. Also, another thing is sometimes project files get corrupt. It's not just Cubase; they do it in Logic too. So periodically, I'll just save a second version of the file. Not usually this often. Usually every like 30 to 45 minutes, I'll make a new version of the file. So since this is simple, I'm just gonna copy this, paste it. Paste this again. This is 1632. Okay, I only want two of them. The intro is going to be two of these. Two sets of 16 makes 32. So then I want to bring it up, bring the levels up to make it pretty accurate. I'm using Finis. It's made by Elemental Audio. Basically, you want it here so it peaks once in a while, like it clips once in a while, but not usually. Okay, so that sounds cool, whatever. Then I'll make a group track, and I don't know how most people do this. I do everything differently. But this will allow me to duck the sound under the drums, which I'll show you soon enough. Let's see. So let's go to groups all. And this one's also going to be groups all. And now I want the drums. So let's look at the drums. I use battery. And I don't know. For the drums, you have to wait until it does stuff. So waiting. Cool. I use this kit. Use whatever kit you like. Dubstep usually has some kind of hard sounding kit. I hate the snares in this kit though. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another snare from another kit. Alright, let's use this one. No, this one. Okay, this is a good snare. Awesome. Now we have that, and now I usually just go ahead, I set Finis for peak limiting, even though it's not necessary, because I'm going to run it through a compressor. I use neodymium, I guess, for the compressor. I say a lot. Set it on drums. There you go, it's done. And now we want sub bass. So I go to Absinthe. There is a sub bass in the Absinthe program. It's called Roland Sub Bass. It's okay. It's a square sub bass. I don't like it particularly. So I usually just use a sine wave. I set the release pretty low so it doesn't fade into the other sounds. So anyways, I set the release low. I want this to also go to all, just like the other ones. I'm going to have this also using this tool called Finis to bring the levels up to an appropriate level. It's going to be sub bass, so it's going to be really low. this is about where I want it. So it's not really peaking too much. Okay. Now we want to add the drums. So just throw in an 8-beat. Basically what that is, set it on 8th notes, go down, make a bass drum and a snare. Bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare. And you can just do a few of them and have it repeat. Then set the cymbals. If you use this line tool up here, it'll just set all the cymbals when you can do whatever, and it'll draw stuff all over the place. And here's the beat. Cool, it's pretty simple. Now what we want to do is we want to duck the we want to duck the sounds from this all group underneath the drums. So you hit the sidechain thing and you you run the drums, go to send, and run the drums through the sidechain compressor, bring it up to 0, and you can fiddle with the settings however you like. So now we have it ducking. You can't hear it now because there's nothing. Also, you see here this red light is bad. That's because it's clipping on the end, so I usually just throw another one of these finesses. I don't know if most people use these finesses this often. It's basically like a peak limiter is what it's called. And that just prevents it from clipping. See, it stops at the line. Alright, now we have the drum beat. Just copy this over a few times. We're gonna just make this also 32 just for fun. Alright, now we want Massive to make some dubstep sounds. So we just hit record and we record it with the drums. Okay, and you need to make sure these fall on the gray lines. So I'm going to zoom in a little more so we can see it better. That's basically something I just made up in D minor for the dubstep sound. Of course, it doesn't sound like dubstep now, but it will. So I hit Control A, I quantize everything with Q, play through and make sure it's what I like. I usually want these to fall on the main beats, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, so I move them over. Like this one here. This needs to fall on the main beat right here. Let's syringe this out. Alright, and then okay. I'm just making sure it's still recording. Alright. And yeah, like this is obviously in the wrong place. Fix this. Okay, it's fixed. That sounded pretty cool. It's all on the offbeat, so I'll leave it. Yeah, and this last part is where I'm just going to repeat it. Damn it. Yeah, this little button here, what it does is it changes auto scroll, so you don't have to worry about it randomly jumping to other parts of the window when you're trying to do something, like it just did. Okay, so now we have the dubstep part.